Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So, we've been talking about taxes, right? Some of the ins and outs, some basics, right? But here's the thing. When tax season comes around, you're going to have to decide, right? You need to know how to choose whether you need a tax preparer or if you need to do tax software and do it yourself, right? There's a couple things I want to go over to consider because, you know, a lot of Americans are going to pay someone else to do their taxes, right? But an increasing number, they're turning to tax software and they're doing their taxes themselves. Right now, of course, the option best for you, just like in everything else, it depends on your situation, right? There's no one size fits all, right? So I want to go over some of the factors that we could talk about for you to consider, right? Maybe put a little extra thought into it, and then you can make your decision, right? So let's get to the first one. The first one's going to be the complexity of your finances. Okay, so as a general rule, the more complicated your tax situation is, the more advantageous it's going to be for you to let someone else do it, right? Well, what would make your taxes, be complex, right? Well, let's talk about a couple situations that might help you out. So let's say you own a business. Okay. Well, whether your business is a full-time endeavor or simply a side job, right? There's going to be some special rules that you might want to discuss with a tax pro. So, for example, if your business purchased equipment, there's going to be a bunch of ways you can write off that cost, right? The best way to do this is going to depend on your current tax situation as well as your prospects for the future. Now, of course, you can handle many of these situations with, the correct tax software, right? Think TurboTax Self-Employed, right? But you're not going to get that personalized advice. Okay, well, maybe you had a major life event this year, right? Maybe you started a business. Maybe you sold a business. Maybe you went through a divorce, bought or sold a home, or had any number of major life changes that could have happened. Well, a tax preparer can alert you to the relevant rules you're going to have to follow, and as well as the breaks to which you could be entitled to. Okay, well, let's say you're really busy in the market, right? You're investing money, making money, selling stuff, buying stuff, everything. Well, software can automatically input the data from the documents, right? Documents like a Form 1099B, and that's going to be one that brokers use to report your security transactions, right? However, a tax pro is going to help make sure you have all the other information that's required for your return, right? So, and some of these things might not be listed on your 1099B. Well, how about if you want to itemize? Okay, again, software lets you feed this information into the mix, but a tax preparer can provide strategic advice about deductions that you're entitled to, right? The substantiation you need for those deductions and other matters that could help you reduce your tax bill while avoiding, problems with the IRS. We know nobody wants problems with the IRS. So then that's going to move us on to the next point, your proficiency with taxes or with math, right? Because, for some people, the very idea of numbers and taxes and the process of preparing and, filing a return is just, they don't want to think about it. It's just they want to keep putting it off, right? But for others, taxes have become a routine chore that just needs to be done each year, right? And they don't want to, but they just do it every year, right? Well, if you've been doing your taxes year after year and not much has changed in your financial or personal situation, you'll likely be more than able to handle your next tax return. But make sure you're familiar with any relevant changes in the rules. Say some that were brought about by the Tax Cuts and Jobs Acts, right? That's a massive tax bill that went into effect, in 2018. For example, the standard deduction almost, kind of basically doubled, right? The personal exemption, it went away. And there were new limitations placed on the deductibility of mortgage interest and state and local taxes. So, if you've never done a tax return before, you need to decide whether you're up to it or not. You need to recognize that you don't have to be a math wizard, because the software or, online site that you're going to be doing, they're going to do all the math for you. And you don't need to be a tax expert either. There's going to be a bunch of prompts that ask you to supply the information that they need to complete your return. Okay, well then, what about the next point? Well, the next point is going to be your schedule, because time's always an important factor. Whether you're deciding to do something yourself or hire someone else to do it. In the case of taxes, you'll spend the same amount of time either way gathering the documentation that's needed, right? Your W-2s, your 1099 forms from banks, brokers, and other income sources, any canceled checks and credit card statements, online banking records. That way you can substantiate your deductible expenses. Okay. So the difference in time then, what does it come down to? Well, it comes down to the time doing the actual return, right? Depending on your situation, maybe that's an hour or so, or maybe it's 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. If you don't have the time to spare, using a preparer might be the better choice for you. Tax preparation fees, now these are going to vary widely, depending on the preparer's credentials, the complexity of your return, and the part of the country you live in. Okay, well then let's talk about the last point, the cost. Well, cost may also influence your decision. So, according to a 2019 study by the National Association of Tax Professionals, the average fee for preparing a tax return is about $200, but fees can vary widely depending on the qualifications of the preparer, the complexity of the return and the region, right? We just talked about this earlier. So, you can do your own return for little or nothing, right? So, if your adjusted gross income is 72,000 or less, right? For the 2020 tax year and the tax filing season of 2021, I mean, you can use Free File. That's the IRS's no-cost service that lets you prepare your return online and submit it electronically. Well, if your income is too high for Free File, you can buy software or use a tax preparation website. Prices start at around $20 and go up from there depending on your needs. If you need specialized software for self-employment income, rental income, farming income, or, other more complex situations, the cost will increase. Some companies also offer, free stripped down versions of their software, which can be suitable for very simple returns, right? So basically, you know, if, if you've got the money to let someone else do it and you can't be bothered to do it, getting a tax preparer might be good for you. But if your taxes are really simple and you've got, a couple hours, I mean, you should probably end up doing them yourselves, right? I mean, that's kind of what this comes down to. So when tax season rolls around, hopefully you guys have enough information to go ahead and make your decision, right? I hope you guys got some good information out of this. If you enjoyed the video, please like the video. If you're not already subscribed, I really appreciate it if you did. And so I'll see you guys in the next video. Y'all be safe.